Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to a very special episode to close out the 2023 year of the Check Engine podcast. My name's Nick. Tristan's here with me. Andrew will be joining shortly. But this is back by popular demand. Our most popular episode of this year was our karting roundtable that we recorded about 1 year ago. And we decided we're going to bring that back again. So we've got some more friends of mine, some guys who I saw the backs of their helmets very, very small in front of me all year. We'll go around the horn here and introduce them all. I've got Wes Steege. I've got Kevin Coleman back for another year. I've got Corey Dominic, and I've got Laurentiu Mardan, all here to talk some go-karting and talk some shop with us. Welcome aboard, guys. Thanks for taking some time.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us, man.
Thanks for the invitation.
Thank you
That's
for
some
having
good
us.
stuff that you guys do here. So,
Appreciate it, man. Absolutely. So, Tristan, I know there's been times when like you guys have asked how things are going, and I say, my pace is whatever it is. But it was a pretty decent day because I was within a second of one of the fastest, if not the fastest, Masters driver in the world. Larry, or Laurentiu Mardan, is the guy I'm talking about. So if I'm within a second of Larry, I know it's a good day or a really shitty day for him. So.
no, it's okay, man. Our group was pretty consistent this year, so I think it's okay. We like to see people getting competitive. It's okay.
Yeah, competition in our class is really, I think, the last couple years, like, gotten really, really stiff. So, actually, Kevin, Wes, and Corey are the top three finishers in our class this year. So, Kevin Coleman, 2023 champ, congratulations. One of the things we do want to get into at some point tonight is just talk about, the three of you and how you approached racing for that championship, because it was, if I remember right, pretty much anybody's game going into the last race. Like all three of you had a scenario where you could win the championship this year. So at some point, definitely want to get into that. Last year we talked a lot about the SCUSA Super Nationals. Wes and Larry, you guys both raced that this year, so be cool to get your take on SCUSA. Yeah, Larry's already wincing. We figured you had a month to cool down a little bit,
Rule book aside.
Rule book aside, had about a month to cool down, but we can get into that. But Tristan, where do you think you want to start this? Like, how do we open this one up?
I know we've got some returning folks here, but I think maybe kind of a quick intro would be a good place to start, just so we know, other than your lovely description of the guys who are in front of you all the time, maybe know a little bit more about them and kind of give us some perspective on what they might say later.
Do you want me to do that, or do you want them to do that?
I'd love them to do that in their own words.
All right. Well, let's start with. I guess we'll start with the champ, Kevin. Why don't you just give yourself a little intro here?
Yeah, sure. So I go by Kevin Coleman. I'm a 36-year-old Taurus. Just in the south suburbs of Chicago. And yeah, getting lucky enough to be crowned your 2023 Tag Masters champion this year.
Also a professional bowler in a past life?
Yes. Spent 14 years as a PBA professional.
Insane.
A man of many talents.
Absolutely. Didn't you just
Jack
bowl a
of all
300
trades,
too?
master of none.
We'll roll around next. Wes Steege, want to give yourself a quick intro?
Yeah, so I've been karting since I was 7. Took a 10-year hiatus, 10, 11-year hiatus, and just got back into it a little over a year and a half ago. Originally from Wisconsin, right down the road from Badger Kart Club, and moved to Chicago 12 years ago, 13 years ago now. So make the commute back and forth, and like I said, just got back into it. uh, after helping out with the club for years and went full degenerate status. So now I spend all of my spare time and money going around and chasing these guys around.
There you go. Awesome. Corey?
Oh, my name is Corey Dominic. I'm basically Larry's right hand man for our business of trucking and the team go kart team. Uh, Pretty much that's it with my life.
Bad fast driver too. Don't sell yourself short. And last but not least, Mr. Mardon. Want to just give yourself what's the 30-second elevator pitch?
Hi guys, I'm Laurențiu Mardan. I'm originally from Romania. For people that don't know, we came in the States about 17 years ago, and right now we run Technokart USA. Me and Christian Vomir, which is also a member of Tag Master Championship Series. We call Badger our home track. We love that place, and we really like the people around that track. That's the main reason why we keep coming back there. And yeah, we karting. We love. I love personally. I love karting. So I have so much fun doing it. So you can
Yeah,
see
we all.
I'm running all over the place.
How many races you do a year, Larry?
It's hard to count. I think we start we start with Florida Winter Tour. We do some rock events over there, Rotax sometimes, national, all the USPTS we did. Route 66 we choose to help customers and develop young drivers. We have one particular driver that we are focusing on and we consider him as our family. So we dedicate a lot of time to him. Um, I don't know. And we do some tag masters also. It's also a pleasure, always a pleasure to race over there. I don't know. I would say 20 races a year, plus
Great.
Supernats, plus Vegas Rock, plus mainly when I'm going to Romania, I have our amazing factory sent us some material over there too. So we are fortunate to work with guys like this. I mean, they support us a lot.
Awesome. So, I guess coming from Romania to the States, Larry, we'll stick there for a second.
Yeah.
Were you running with did the relationship with Techno come before you moved to the States, or was that after?
No, after. So it is a long story. I don't know if we have time. I can tell you all the story. So me and Christian, we raced together in Romania in 1994. We met at nationals in Romania, and in 1998 it was the last time I saw Christian in Romania. So after that he moved to the States in like 2001, and I came to the States in 2006. And in 2008, I just ran into him by mistake at some Romanian church, and this is how we start karting in the United States again. It was just a coincidence.
Wow.
And then Techno started in 2018 because we were racing different equipment. Actually, my first national race that I won was at Badger, USPTS, and it was in a different brand, and we had great success. I mean, with different brands too. And then in 2018, we were in the warehouse talking, and we had difficulties with the other equipment to get them in stock as fast as we wanted, and we just. I called immediately. I speak Italian, and I said, "This is who I am. Can I be the importer in the States?" And they said, "Okay, you can be the importer in North America." And this is what we are now. It was plain and simple.
What, one phone call? That's all it took.
One phone call, I told the guys what we do, and they saw that we have the passion and ambition, and we showed it throughout the year. Because in 2018, we got the equipment in 2018 in March, and we won USPKS national championship in the same year. Debut for techno with it was good, And then we went to Le Mans, the World Finals, and the factory came over there with support and everything, so it was amazing. To work with mechanics, they work with Jensen Button and Roman Grosjean and everything. I had them in my tent right there. So yeah, it was amazing. I'm super lucky that I can do this. Honestly, I cannot believe that I'm doing this. Honestly, I never dreamed about this before. I'm far too fortunate, and my family supports, and everybody supports me. So,
That's awesome.
yeah.
Jensen Button, Roman Grosjean, and then you've got Corey.
Corey, yeah. No, man, Corey, I'm telling you, he's our right hand here. He's running a lot of stuff because obviously, you cannot run everything by yourself. It's a lot of work behind everything.
So Corey, how did you get in touch with Larry, and how did that relationship come about?
He lost the bet.
No. When they announced he was doing techno, I was giving him little crap on the messaging. I would message him and I would be like, because I was running 206 at the time. I go, hey, why don't we put a 206 on your cart? Let's put a 206 on one of those carts. And all of a sudden, like in the wintertime, one day Larry messaged me. He's like, let's have a meeting on Wednesday. And then we had a meeting. And next thing I know, we set up a cart, put it on a 206, and then I started racing for them.
And you're still there.
But
So
yeah, I'm surprised I'm still here.
I think you've earned it. So real quick, our co-host Andrew has hopped on. What's up, Andrew? Can you hear us? While he's getting that set up, Corey or anybody else, you had mentioned a 206. So for someone like Andrew or some of our listeners who may not be as familiar, or Tristan, what is a 206 and how is it different than what we race in our class? Anybody can take that question.
So like the 206 is basically like a Briggs and Stratton engine. They got it all sealed from the block, all over the place. They got seals where you can't really alter it. It's supposed to be box stock, like supposed to be grassroots racing. There's some series that big time races like they do this Grand National race at Newcastle in the end of September, and they bring like, what do they have this year? They had like 600 entries. It's a cost efficient way to go
600?
racing, whereas in us we got 600
Cost efficient, yeah.
all over the
Race.
yeah.
Yeah. KA 100 is the same. It's very cost efficient. Sticky, how many engines you have?
I mean that's what they claim they are.
We're at 3. I talked myself off the ledge on the last 2 that I found with Z's. There was an 012 that was out there that I wanted. So we are still at 3. There might be a 4th one in the mail right now. I can't confirm or deny.
Cost effective.
Yep.
So yeah, 206 is a 4-cycle engine, lower top speed in a straight line in theory, more torque, versus the KA 100, which is 2-cycle, revs at a higher RPM, a little bit higher top speed, less torque, so more important to keep the revs up throughout the course of a lap. So Corey started in 206. Now he's running with us in Masters, doing really, really well. He was one of the 3 that were right in the fight all the way to the last race for the Tag Masters Championship this year. So, Kevin, Wes, Corey, let's whoever wants to take it to start, just kind of give us your take on those last few weeks, kind of coming down to it when it was anybody's game, and how you went about your business, how you approached it. Whoever wants
I
to
guess
go.
I'll get started on this one.
Come on.
So the last couple weeks of Tag Masters was pretty intense, just because we had a serious fight with Wes and I going back and forth on top of the point standings, and then with that, we threw in a Route 66 weekend where all three of us were competing, and it just seemed like it was the most fun, but at the same time, it was the most stressful couple weeks that I've endured in karting, because um, I've never won a championship before. I've never actually raced for one, so at least a full 10 race season like that. So definitely got to my head a lot and was worried about points and situations. So I probably made the last couple weeks of my life hell trying to figure out how to beat Wes and Corey.
So, when you say you had the regional race in their route, all three of you guys, was it the same cart, same frame and everything? So, like, were you in the back of your head like, oh man, if something happens that route, I'm fucked for Masters or anything like that?
Oh yeah, that was definitely a thought.
I yeah, yes and no. I was ready to just go get another one if need be.
Eh,
Yeah,
Larry was making fun of me
Larry's.
because I think I had like 2.5 carts with me in Vegas this year, ready, fully built, ready to go. So, but yeah, I agree with Kevin. It was nervous that way. I actually was struggling to stay focused. Um, at the end of it, because I had a kid due, so it was like I was quietly hoping that the season was gonna wrap up on time at least, which it did. There was a lot of rain this year in our calendars, so I was felt like we were going to get a, rain day at the end there, which would have derailed my season, but it didn't. So all in all, like Kevin said, we were going back and forth. He'd have a good weekend, I'd have a bad weekend. He'd have a bad weekend, I'd have a good weekend. So it was just like very good. And then there was Corey just chiseling away, point by point, watching it, and then we were racing a route as well. So but yeah, I ended up getting, I think it was third. I got to look back on it, but yeah, I just had a bad last weekend. But it was tight. It was good competition all year. Talking to everybody around the country, I think we did the most week to week, our average series wise. So like there was always competition, especially a lot of one-off people, which made the championship actually more nerve-wracking for me because I think I was starting to count points by week 5.
That was going to be my next question for all three of you guys. Like, at what point you start paying attention to points versus just we're going to go out there and just not wing it, but just do the best we can and let the things fall where they may.
Yeah, I mean, I'll go again to start out, but mine was I was struggling to find speed and lap times in practice all year, and we had one race where it just like temperature was right, tried some different things, kart came to life. I think we found like 7/10 of a second in lap times, and that's when I started. The consistency was there in the beginning, but I didn't think I had it to do the whole season. I had a lot of luck on my side, and then at that point, I felt like I was consistent enough to compete, and that was around week 5 where I was like, we can fight for this. But
What about you, Corey? How are you kind of approaching the last few races of the year?
well, well, in the beginning of the year, I was doing really well. We did a lot of testing with the new surface at Badger, and then pretty confident at Road America. But to be honest, I wasn't really fully committed to run the whole season. I have obligations where, uh, unfortunately, this year there was USPKS races same weekend as Tag Masters, and my obligations were to help the team out if they're going to USPKS, go and work there, help out with the team. But we were looking at the points that like before what was it, the USPK race at Newcastle, and we decided we're like, all right, let's just let you keep running the Tag Masters race, and we'll figure out from there since you're now leading the championship that time. And then unfortunately after that, everything just went downhill. Like started losing positions and losing points. But uh, then near the end of the year, I was just like, you know what? Let's just see what happens. Go out and have fun. And came out and finished second.
Awesome. Good on Larry for letting him go chase that instead of forcing him to come crew at other weekends.
Yeah, we had we had some moments when we wished Corey was there with us to help the big races, but also we respected his pleasure and his also hobby to race and have fun. So it's okay.
Can we just
It's
note one thing about Corey? He
Uh-oh.
raced out of the back of his Ford Edge.
I was in awe and totally impressed when he showed up there, the dismantled cart, and put that bad boy together at 8 o'clock in the
Like,
morning.
Listen, we offered him. We have a sprinter van at pole position. We offered him the sprinter to go. He said, "Nah, I'll take it in my pickup truck."
I respected it way more in the edge.
oh my god,
Wow.
it was
I was
incredible.
nervous that day. He had that thing together by like 8:15. I was actually a little nervous that day. I was like, shit, Corey's in the zone.
Yeah.
Well, Corey,
No.
how many of these do you get a chance to put together and tear apart every year? Like, it's got to be second nature at this point.
If you want, I'll show you a picture from the shop right now.
It's literally like second nature. Like,
What was that? Go ahead, Corey.
yeah, it's literally like second nature now. Like it's like second nature every race weekend. When Monday morning after I do my full time job, I come to the shop and I start tearing apart customer cards, cleaning it, getting it back together for the next week. My card goes after all the customers, Larry and Christian's carts. So I just make sure everyone's stuff is done before my stuff.
So you're rushing on your stuff anyway most of the time. So putting it together quick isn't that big of a deal.
Yeah, with customers and Larry and Christian's carts, I make sure they're right because with my cart, if I lose a bolt, it's on me. But with a customer, I'd feel really bad if I miss something on it. I mean, there's
We
an interesting story from one time with when I rented for Christian that we had a little bit of an incident.
I mean, do tell. You can't tease it and then not tell it.
Oh, oh man! Like it was a USPKS race at Newcastle, and Saturday night I was having too much of a good time after the races, and then Monday or Sunday morning it showed I was very sloppy, uh, doing a bunch of work on his cart, and goes into warm up, and he goes out, does a lap, and then he realized the motor is loose, and then he pulls in. Next thing you know, his tie rod is like not even fully tight. He was telling me, he's like, "What are you trying to do? Kill me?" I was like, "I've had a long night, buddy." But I mean, Christian still gives me shit about that every time I'm working on a cart.
Got to check it twice. check it twice. So let's dive in.
Yeah, you gotta check it twice and make sure.
Yeah, for sure. So let's dive into um, that last weekend of the season and just kind of let's just go through that last race and how we got to the point standings we did. Again, either one of the top three here can just kind of take us through their day, what it was like. A lot of pressure, no pressure. I know Wes, you had to kind of come from behind there, and you used me as. I don't think I've ever been. He had to come through the field, and I don't think I've been pushed so hard in my life. So I knew you needed to be aggressive. So you actually helped me pass somebody else, so I appreciate it. But who wants to just kind of run through that last day?
I
Kevin,
guess I'll go.
Yeah.
go.
Why not?
I think we should
Um,
save it for the champion.
yeah. So that 2 hour drive heading up to Badger was probably the most nerve wracking drive I've ever had. Um, just because, like I said earlier, I've never ran for a championship before, so those nerves were super high, and Wes was just coming off a win at Badger from the previous race. He swept the whole weekend the last time we were there, and Corey put on a real great showing at Road America the weekend before. So, I was atop the points, but I kind of felt like I was maybe had the least amount of momentum of the three of us. So I just was nervous. I actually only got 2 laps in practice because I pinched my fuel line. So I didn't get that
Uh-oh.
much practice, but then I managed to qualify second behind TJ. I think it was like 0.001, and kind of changed the whole mindset and just knew that I had good track position and just needed to just keep the eyes forward. And luckily, everything just kind of played in my favor.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Who? I don't know. I forgot. So what was the finish? Because I know me and you, me and you, Kevin. We, in the last lap, I thought it's Corey behind, and I was like, it's let him go. And then
Oh,
I saw a red nose, and I thought it's Corey, but it was cool, man. He passed me. I was like, whoa! I had to pass him back. It was so. What was the order? Neville's one.
oh, hold on one
Yeah, I
second.
think TJ won. Yeah, I think TJ won that day, and then Kevin was third. I want to say. I think it was
So I was
TJ,
second.
Nikki.
I
Were you
was
second?
second.
So it was TJ, you. Then it was Kevin, Nikki, and then Corey.
Corey, what was the order? You know better.
No, it was me then. No, it was me then, Kevin.
Okay.
Oh, so you got third and Kevin fourth? I know
Yeah,
it was a strange last lap. Like I
yeah. I made a little questionable pass on him on the last lap.
don't say that. You are being recorded. Don't say.
Yeah, we'll
Yes,
call the judges.
it's on the record now. So Kevin,
Yep.
Corey had just said that he had made a questionable pass on the last lap of the race.
Yeah. So I started to turn going into turn one, taking the white flag, and I wasn't turning. I was I was going quite straight towards some colored bags, and the next thing you know,
You
I see Corey over here, head down, doing the tuck, trying to pass me down the straightaway. And I was like, this guy.
you lost the downforce. Cool, man. It's okay.
But no, that battle between Larry and Corey was probably the most fun that I had. Uh, that last back half of the season, just racing with those guys. I mean, Larry letting me go. and not realizing that it was, not, he thought it was Corey and not me. And then he hurried up and tried to pass me. He actually hit me so hard he moved my GoPro.
But it was not dirty, so it was okay. It was. I didn't push you out. Anyway, yeah. Congrats to Kuhlman for his ambition. We like to see people like that, man. It's super awesome. Like, congrats, very good
Yeah,
job.
thank you. I mean, what was cool about this season is I think we had 8 different winners.
Yeah, I think I won first two, and then there was Nikki won. There
Nikki
was
won, Wes, Christian, myself, TJ won, Scott. Did Scott Top win one?
He did not. He
Oh,
only, he
Danny.
did. He got the third one, I think.
No.
The third weekend.
Yeah, Danny won one. So I mean, we had, so it was seven different winners out of 10 races.
yeah, there was man. I'm talking about Scott Cup. I mean, we all know how fast is that guy, huh? This year, the luck was not with him, dude. Every single big race, he was something happening. Like fuck. Even in Vegas, I spoke with him. It's so frustrating. I don't know, man.
Mm-hmm.
I guess the guy works a lot building the engines and stuff, and it's super hard to focus on your own stuff when you do some other full time stuff. It's pretty difficult. So we have to do like a hard, not like a hard, like a bad luck
Bad
podium.
luck driver award.
A bad luck award, hard
Yeah,
luck award.
yeah, it was sad
So
to see that.
when you guys are in like the middle of this battle,
I think we did have one. I won it one time.
oh yeah,
Uh, did you get it for that or the club? Do we have those? We had a bunch last year, I feel. Different awards.
Uh, like we had the Bob had like the hard luck award. It was for the guy that had like a bad final, and that was the time when my engine decided to say, "Yeah, you're done racing." So I got last, and then Bob just like, here's an envelope full of money for you for finishing last."
I feel like I mean, if that's the case all the time, we should just finish last. It might be a money making operation if he's just willing to pass out a couple $100 a week for finishing last.
Yeah, I remember when I first came back, I tried to convince him that there should be an award for most passes made in a weekend or in a day because I kept blowing chains, and I think I went through 9 chains in the season. So I always had to start in the back because I'd blow them in qualifying. And I was like, "Can I get an award for most passes in a year?" I think going into like week 5 last year, I would average like 11 passes a race.
That's okay. It's good practice.
Yeah,
Hard charger award.
yeah, yep.
So do you guys when you guys are battling for a championship like this, Kevin, you said it's like, it must have been like the most fun I think I've had in a kart. Like, do you realize it at the time, or does that come with like just looking back on it afterwards?
I think just looking back on it, you know, it's just you get so wrapped up in the numbers game that you kind of almost forget what you're doing. I mean, there was times where I was, kind of slacking on things. My preparation, getting ready for the weekends. Um, between that and just working a ton of hours, there's just days you just didn't want to work in the garage, but you knew you had to because you're up top and you want to stay there.
For sure.
Yeah, I remember. I would say back when I was younger and you're fighting for championships, it was felt like it was super intense all the time. You would always be pushing. You're
Go
always
ahead,
like
guys. I didn't want to.
overthinking everything. You're almost thinking too much. I would say now I was more relaxed this year than normal. Just having fun with it, and that helped. But then um, at the end, it like kind of got distracting. So I would say that you stopped doing your normal routine and you started kind of, ghost inventing or thinking of different things to do, which would actually take you off your rhythm. Um, so, and like I found, like I'm a rhythmic person, so I need to, I need to just do something over and over and over and muscle memory. So I would say like my biggest struggle was like all I wanted to do was be at the track. And I need to like remind myself, no, you can't go to the track Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Um, and just bang out laps. So that was kind of the way I was thinking about it at the end. Plus, I was distracted as can be. So
Yeah,
um,
you had
and
you
actually,
had some bigger things coming down the
yeah. So
line
like
there.
at the end, like I wasn't even focused on it, surprisingly. But yeah, overall, um, it was different than like winning like the senior championship back in the day when HPV was still a thing. Um, and focusing on that. So
HPV. Wow.
oh, I miss those days. I miss Yamaha pipe.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yep.
I
RLV
like I
three
like the
pipe.
sound of that. It's amazing.
Yeah, they don't last long, but it's a fun time.
It's fun while
Here
it
for a good
lasts.
time. Here for a good time, not a long time.
Yeah, they're like ICA engines. Although we were pretty close to ICA engines in Vegas. What was your max RPM out there, Larry?
Um, 18.2.
That's it. I
Yeah.
hit 18.9 in the draft twice.
Holy shit!
So
Yeah.
so it seems like my power was not. That's okay.
Did you
So
go
you didn't have
high or
enough bolts on your
not?
weights.
Now that it's over and they're never going to race that track again. I almost guarantee it because people were mad about it. I didn't mind it at the end of it, but did you go lower on our on gear or higher on gear? We can let
I
our secrets out.
No, I mean right now it's not a secret anymore. So I was on 1070 for the race. For the final, I was 1077.
Okay, so I was right there with you at the end.
Yeah.
We went the other way, and it was the absolute wrong way.
I mean, I heard gears from 1081, and I started with 1074,
Same here.
and we just played around. I guess whatever, you know. It was just-
Yeah. And
For
for the
me,
listeners, these
yeah.
engines don't like that RPM. Well, they do, but they don't.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
was
know.
just
I guess depends how is your engine set up. I don't know.
Yeah.
I had three engines, and we we just keep changing them and try this, try that, try this, try that. I mean, and at the end was the secret was not in the engine. To me,
No,
to
I
me,
agree.
I changed the wheels, and when I changed the wheels, I put it in pole. That's it.
My mine was Ackerman. I put Acker. We were running a senior setup, and
Ackerman as much as possible.
yep, mine was we were running senior setups all weekend, and we were just too heavy for that because there's what 35-pound difference, and that thing at 390, that car pushes like a dump truck.
Plus the track was no grip, no grip.
No,
This synthetic tire is not really putting the grip down as much as we probably want. I mean, I like to drive the track with a lot of grip. I mean, I don't mind either way, but seems like you know, once the grip is coming down, I'm more confident and I drive a little better.
yeah,
so. You guys have kind of transitioned into the Scooser race, which is good because that's something we wanted to get to anyway. So nice natural transition. But like I know someone like Andrew who hopped on a little late has been kind of waiting on a question like this just because he's not as familiar with karting as some of the rest of us are. So, like, Andrew, welcome. I'll give you a chance to hop
Oh,
in.
thanks. Well, no, I was listening to you guys, and kind of in preparation. So a little personal backstory. I used to live in Wisconsin with these two other guys, and recently moved to Nebraska, which is very like Wisconsin, only flat. And one of the things that disappears here, and I don't have a reason for this. Obviously, right in Wisconsin, southeastern Wisconsin, the karting tracks all over, Slinger, Eagle, they're everywhere. And there's almost no karting here. And it's all SCCA instead, which is a little odd. But I found the nearest karting track. It's called Ignite Karting. It's out in Hastings, about an hour away from where I am. And they run their own series. Uh, as far as I can tell. So it's a stock series using the Ignite K3. Everyone runs the same thing. I was looking through the rules and I saw something that really stood out to me because it sounded really interesting. I was wondering if this is standard or something you guys have heard of. They have a specific rule for engine claiming where they'll just come take your engine and they'll give you a brand new engine and then at just I was like, wait, hold on, what? And is this like a standard practice for karting?
Um,
That is a very very sensitive subject here.
Really?
yeah,
Oh, you don't
it's.
say.
I would
Whoa.
say yeah, yes and no. I would say yes and no. So in sprint karting, no. In dirt track karting, yes. They've tried to bring it into spec karting and it went very poorly.
Why is that? I mean, other than like, hey, this is my engine, don't goddamn take it. But
Yeah, so I mean, I feel like our KAs are so close, and people are, we're trying to find slivers, and it's spec racing, to an extent, whereas 206 racing or Ignite racing is even more, as Corey was saying before. Like
yeah,
you get to choose the clutch, the engine mount, and I think that's it. Like, and you get to lap your own uh, valves, and that's about it. Um, but beyond that, um, the claim rule wasn't covering the actual cost of these engines. So
oh
there's
god,
there's buying an engine from the store, and then there's buying a race engine from the store. And I'm sure everybody here could argue like there's club motors, regional motors, and national motors, and they're all very different. And it goes to how often do you want to rebuild it. But the problem with the claim rule and are in like the sprint karting world is that it was like someone is going to have a couple thousand into an engine, and the claim rule might be for $1,000, and you'll never find that engine. Because the downside also to spec racing is when you get to like the top level, a lot of people will take many to make a few, or search for a lot of items. Where I would say like at the circle track level or dirt karting, they are building those engines through and through, which I would prefer we would go to. But basically, you can give them 10 engines and they'll make them all identical because they're making them to a specific spec, and it's a repeatable occurrence. So that's the biggest thing is the confines of our rulebook just don't make claim rules popular. And when you institute one, people just leave.
wow. I mean, that makes a lot of sense. Well, I'm looking here. So the punishment for the for this race, this Ignite rule. If you fail to comply, you are excluded from participating for a full year and forfeit all points immediately. I mean, it seems like I assume that's probably pretty close to what it would be if there's a claim rule in any race series.
Yeah, I mean, usually like if there's a claim rule, like you either swap engines or they'll give you a new engine. But
Yeah.
um, I mean, like the engines we're running in our series in Tag Masters, like I think they're cost effective relative to other forms, but at the same time, it's still not cheap, and I'd be pretty annoyed if I had to go get another one,
Right.
um, and then rebuild it all together.
So actually, you said something that I'm interested in hearing more about. You said like in higher class spec racing, people will take many to get a few. So that would be looking at a bunch of spec pieces to find the best one out of them. That finding the tiny tolerances between them, whether it's engines, clutches, probably even wheels, I would assume, to find lightest weight, highest performing, everything that's just a little bit above, right?
Yeah, every engine builder and hey guys, jump in here. But any engine builder, they have their magic number that they want to hit on all the specs. So they're gonna if you can bring them a bunch of engines, there's only a few people that do it, but they're gonna take a bunch of engines and try to find they'll take them apart, measure everything together, and then put together the best one, then the second best one, then the third best one, and then the fourth through 15th engine they're sold to recover the cost of everything else. But it's just a resource intense process that doesn't. I mean, you're chasing fractions of a horsepower is
Hmm.
the downside.
Yeah.
I think what Wes is trying to say is even if you get the money to replace your engine that you just it was claimed, the amount of hours and testing on the dyno or development that it's put in that engine is not covering. I mean, I know engines, and I'm not gonna name any brand of engines, but I know a national engine, number one in North America. It was $40,000.
Oh. And the claim would still only
For
cover a
a go kart.
thousand of that.
Huh, Kevin?
For a go kart engine.
Yes.
Yeah, but
Mm-hmm.
even in that case, a $40,000 engine, the claim would still give you 1,000 if that happened to get
No, no,
claimed on a
no.
race.
They will give you a brand new engine
Okay, all right.
or the cost of the engine. I think there was a claim rule at SCUSA when I won SCUSA in 2017. They were trying to claim my engine, and because I won every session, both days, whatever.
I was
And
just so good. I was so fast.
Too
no, no,
fast.
I mean, it was my day, my weekend. I would like to say, Anyway, it's so they were trying to claim the engine. I remember the package was blueprinted by the engine builder. I think it was at the moment $3,500, and they were trying to give you $5,000 to give him the engine. But even that, like Wes was mentioning earlier, about the Z engine with the serial number or whatever. It, that Z engine, I guarantee you cannot find too many. Or I'm just saying, maybe you find it, maybe you don't. Maybe you get a brand new one and it's just as good or maybe better.
when a, when certain serial numbers come up or they come from a certain person, they go for more. I won't name names, but somebody just posted because they're moving up to cars, and they had three engines that anybody in the series knows they're going to be the best because he spares no expense, and he was putting them out there, and he put them on with no attachments, so there was literally no carb, exhaust, wiring, nothing. It was just the bare piece of the engine, and he put them on there for more than a new engine complete costs. And they were I saw it, I laughed, and then I kind of did a double take because they were gone by Sunday.
Oh, jeez.
Jesus.
And it's that's the downside to spec racing a little bit is because you're chasing those fractions.
Yeah.
Um, and it's obvious, like as Larry was saying, like if you don't get a new engine, there's certain serial numbers you look for because they just seem to be better than anything else. And you talk to a lot of builders, and there's not necessarily any rhyme or reason. They kind of just fit together well. And that's just what they are. Maybe it's superstition, but I would say like the newer ones aren't that way. But there's some older ones out there that are just good.
Well, I mean, the manufacturer could have had a good day at the factory that day, you know?
Yeah,
It wasn't built on a Friday.
if the engine,
Right, right.
if the engine is not built on Monday or on Friday, you have a good chance to be a good engine.
Yeah.
So I'm,
Yeah.
I'm, I'm, I'm curious there, Wes. You mentioned someone moving up to cars. I mean, where do you guys feel karting kind of sits in like the pantheon of racing, right? It's the most affordable way to go racing. Nick will attest. I think it's probably one of the most fun ways to do racing, and even you go to a little piddly indoor kart track and you just have a blast, the best time ever. But do you guys see it as a middle step, a perfect place to just race every weekend? Like, what do you think kart racing is in the scope of amateur racing?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I mean, now it's just fun and it's, I can't think of a better place to be than at the track on the weekend with all of you guys here with my friends,
Oh, thank you.
like-minded people. Um, but I mean, everybody has different aspirations, and the quicker that they can figure out what's realistic for them is faster, and that's going to tell you what karting is for you. To me, I mean, karting is the coolest thing ever because it's entry level. Everybody and anybody can pretty much get into it. The But there's different echelons. Kevin, Corey, Larry, you guys would all agree. Nick, you'd agree too. Racing Tag Masters is different than racing Route, is different than racing USPKS, is different than racing International, or even that SCUSA. Like, there's just it's a different type of racing every way. I don't really have an explanation for it. It just like it's different, and depending on what you want to get out of it. Like, we know little kids here now that are trying to be PR machines because if they can't get there on raw talent alone, they're going to get there on selling themselves. And then we know people that are raw talent that are never going to get out of karting. So it's
Interesting.
such a big breadth of whatever. And I found if you karting is what you make out of it. So whatever you want to get out of it, that's what it's going to be. So I don't have a better answer. It's just
But what is nice about karting, you can go all in and have fun, or you can go cheaper way, like our series in Wisconsin, which is a fraction of a cost to run national. You run two, three tracks around the house, pretty much, and you still have fun, and you still attention. You race level, like the level over there at Tag Masters. Oh my God, it's amazing. It's pretty much we do national because we do national, but if you just want to stay local and spend less money, you just pretty much get the top 10 national events level in Wisconsin, Dowsman, every weekend or every
I
race.
feel like I spent way too much money to try to beat everyone in Tag Masters.
I mean, it is what it is. Competition, it's gonna bite you, and then you just want to go and you want to be better and better and better, and it is what it is.
Yeah.
It's costing something, but I think at the end of the day, this sport it's about everything that goes around it, how you prepare, the preparation. You go to the track, you hang out with friends, relax. It's dude, come on.
Yeah. Like
It's like a,
Andrew,
it's like a dream. It's okay.
Yeah.
yeah, like Andrew, like where you're at in Nebraska, the Ignite challenge, that's about the most basic go-kart you can run. I mean, there's not very much you're allowed to change.
Yeah, it's almost
Um,
nothing actually.
yeah, I mean, literally the only, I mean, you get very minimal chassis adjustments, and then you just have, you got your bone stock motor and air pressure is really the big thing you're playing with, and we have so many different things that we can do here, but um, I
are
think
they limited on the number of tires, Kevin or Andrew?
I'm not
Let me see if I
sure,
can pull up the rules here.
but
It'll
you
take me a
know,
minute, but yeah, keep going.
but like I think for us, you know, we're somewhat spec as far as what we can do with engines, the amount of tires we get to run. I mean, we're all on the same tire, but and a lot of it just comes down to logistics. I mean, where else in the country do we get to, do guys get to compete at a club level against national talent? I think the Tag Master Series, um, we got guys
Best in the
like
country.
Larry. Yeah, I mean, we got Larry, we got Scott, we got TJ. Wes, he
Jamie
races
Nick,
Hobson.
nationally.
Nicky,
Yeah, I mean, we
Nicky,
Nikki Colello.
Nicky.
I mean, we have
Yeah.
national level drivers at our club, and that just, it's a blessing because when we get to go do those bigger races, the Route 66 races, we can actually compete with these guys coming in from other parts of the Midwest. because we're already competing with that level of competition on a random Sunday in June.
Yeah, it forces you to raise your game. Like like you know, I'm probably in it for different reasons than some of these other guys, right? I scratching an itch, having a good time, um, trying to be as competitive as I can on the budget that I have. But man, like I've really got to get my shit together if I want to be within a half a second of Wes or three quarters of a second of Larry, or you know, just to even keep them in my sights, right? So it without even thinking about it, like the competitive juices start flowing when you get there, and you know, having that presence at the sharp end of the grid raises everybody's game up. Like I'm looking at even like guys like who, you know, Justin was on the show last year. He had a rough year this year, but like he got better from like 21 to 22. Look at how quick Bill Vorpagel got over the course of a winter, right? Like all of a sudden he's right up there mixing it up with you guys. Like, and those are, or even the, like the Drufry father and son duo, like they've knocked what
Seconds.
2 seconds plus
Yeah.
off of their lap times consistently over the course of a year, and they're just out there like me. You know, they're spending time together, they're having a good time, but all of a sudden they're racing against all these badasses, and it's like, I mean, just to stay in the same hemisphere, we got to pick our shit up, you know.
I mean, just looking through the rules here for Ignite Kart. I mean, Kevin, I think you're right. Every single part is specified down to the part number, chain pitch. The only thing I think it was, yeah, like you said, the only thing you can adjust is the, let's see,
The
you have a
gear.
little bit in the clutch, a little bit. You can do inboard and outboard clutch mounting with one clutch. You can use alternate springs and weights. That is it. Everything else is exactly like you buy it from the factory. I guess
You
you can take
cannot
And you
even
know what?
change the chassis, the front
No.
of
No.
the chassis, nothing.
Those chassis, they're like the old style L block caster, the caster blocks, like the old Coyotes and Invaders used to have, where they were just like those L-shaped pills where, you know,
I think
I,
it's essentially a 2001 spec Margay
yeah.
that was brought up to like date with side pods and stuff. I looked at it, I was like, I'm pretty sure that's like one of the coveted maroon carts, just new.
I remember. So you know, Wes, I'm in the same boat as Wes. Like I started karting really pretty early in life. Like I started at 7 years old, and I stopped after I was 18, and I took a hiatus um, to pursue professional bowling. And then when I decided to come back to karting, I actually teamed up with Larry over here, and um, I remember we were prepping my go kart, and I was measuring in inches, and Larry goes, "You measure in inches, you're gonna be 2 seconds behind." And I was like, "What are you?" You know, and I was I couldn't fathom it because that's how I grew up racing. I grew up racing on a Coyote chassis where you know an eighth of an inch was a small adjustment, and I got Larry over here showing me what 2 millimeters will do. You know, it's
That's
But
just
great.
the
Kevin,
it's
don't tell guys what we did in when the pandemic stuff was going on. Yeah. Yeah, this is the perfect proof of passion and what we can do to just to have just to have fun. It was nice.
That was a fun time.
So, all right. So I mean, clearly for Kevin, it's the thrill of the competition. Professional bowling, you say?
yes.
That's
Yep,
pretty
I took
cool.
up
I
yeah, I took up professional bowling. I went on the pro tour at 19. Um, got my ass kicked, but you know, I was a punk ass kid who just thought I had what it took to be out there, and you know, like I said, I got my ass kicked, came home, worked hard, figured out what I had to do, and then was able to make a living at it for a little bit. And like all things, you just get burned out. And I just always told myself if I had the ability to go back racing, that I would. And 2019, I met Larry at an indoor go karting race, and I was like, "Yep, done bowling." And I went from indoor karting to a X30 racing with Larry, and I went to an X30 after not being in a go kart for 10 years.
I still remember your face at Norway with the first 10 laps that you did in next.
Oh, he could see my eyes through my tinted visor.
Oh my god!
So Kevin links up with Larry. Corey links up with Larry. Techno Kart, the company, links up with Larry. Like, Larry, you seem to be super persuasive.
I think it's because I'm so passionate, man, and I kind of give that infusion. I'm like, believe me, whatever happens here on this warehouse, before the race, there are nights when I'm leaving here 3 o'clock in the night, 3 o'clock in the morning. The music it's all the way up, and I work on my go kart, and I do it. I just love it, man. It's just it's weird because I'm super tired the next day. I'm not I'm not 100% for sure, right? And it's and then we go to a national weekend, and we come home, and until Wednesday I'm like zombie. I'm all over the place. So it's what I'm trying to say is what you want to increase the level and you want to push yourself. It's a lot of work behind, and it's chassis prep, logistic prep, everything, and plus you have to take care of your physique. Like the body. You have to work out. You have to it's not easy to go that level. You have to be consistent, and it's yeah. But it's all these for me, especially for me. I'm talking from my point of view. This helped me in so many ways. Yes, we spent a lot of time and we put a lot of dedication into this, but it's helping me in so many other ways. Isn't it just
I think it's interesting you say that, Larry, because that's actually something we heard in the last roundtable. Was like,
Yeah.
yeah, you know, Roman and then others chimed in saying like, oh yeah, me too. Like maybe not in as dramatic a way, but it's you know this helped me live my life. Even something Nick, as far down the list as I had this itch to do something with motorsports, and I was uncomfortable in my entire life until I scratched that itch, and that did it, and it helped me be okay with the rest of my life, even something as small as that. Um, you know, we hear it a lot that karting has helped or saved people or what have you. I think it's interesting that we saw that in two separate roundtables, entirely unprompted. So kind of a cool thing.
yeah. And this is what we're trying to to pass ahead to the kids that we are training and everything. Is not only that you teach him how to drive and everything. It's more like a lifestyle. You have to be like
The fastest kid there is the one that wants to be there.
that's one, and then keep him away from the tablet and keep him
Hmm.
away from a lot of other things that can go wrong. You know what I mean? There is a expression in Romania. You just put some fuel in their blood, and they're not gonna have money for drugs for sure. Uh, I'm
That's
telling
true.
you, all their money is gonna be tires. Go to the track, engines, and this and that. I guarantee you that.
Yeah.
That's
I also gotta say, Larry's scooter in national races, because all the kids when Larry would bring his scooter, they would literally take it and go up and down the pit lane with it, to the point where we had to put a dummy switch on it. So we would turn it off, and they would see it's on, and they would try to go, and they're like, "Why is it not going?" And I would literally walk over there, like I'll be like, "Oh, let me see what's up with it." And I would just get in the seat, turn the dummy switch on, and just go and just take off from them. And they would be like, "Oh, what?"
Yeah,
Yeah,
and something else. I'm sorry, Kevin. Something else. It's where I'm coming from. I used to start karting at 9 or 8, 8.5 something. I never saw a brand new set of tires on my go kart once I was running in Romania. Never, never. I did. I mean, and I'm going to the track and I see so many kids. They don't care, man. They have everything. They have all the opportunity. Everything is like given to them, and they don't want to do it. And I'm like, I don't understand this because if I had my father or my family to say, here's a brand new go kart, let's go. I cannot imagine what I was able to do to have that kind of chance. And now I'm older, yes, and I can do it by myself, and I just enjoy that. I mean, I'm living my young years right now. So yeah.
Yeah, it's you're right, Tristan. It's interesting how twice in a row, unprompted, this is the topic that bubbles up. And like you don't spend, that's a great phrase, Larry, but like you don't spend like there's you don't make money doing this. Like you are pissing it away. And like you don't continually do that if you don't, no matter how illogical it is, have that just burning passion that Larry was talking about. Like,
Yeah.
and it does, it helps people. Like it
In in
teaches you
in my case, yes. In my case, yes.
and it teaches you a lot of things, right? It's um that you can apply elsewhere, like hard work habits. It teaches you like discipline, like even to try to run as you're learning, running the same line over and over, and braking in the same spot, turning, hitting the apex at the same point or at the same angle. Like that's just like teaching you discipline that you can apply to other areas of your life, whether it be school or work or whatever it is. Like there's a lot of life. People say this about a lot of sports, but like there's a lot of life lessons that you can take from it and apply elsewhere.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
go ahead, Kevin.
I was gonna say, as passionate as we are about karting, and as serious as we take karting on, whether it's our tag master level, regional or national level, um, being at Badger, my favorite thing about Badger Kart Club is the playground. And I say that because as much as we dedicate way too much time into what we're doing, um, we see kids get off the racetrack, want to fight each other in the scale line, and then next thing you know, they're pushing each other on the swing at the playground at the racetrack. So it just kind of, for me, like that playground there is just kind of a reminder of the fact that like we're trying to kill each other out there and have fun, but at the same time, like it's it's just racing. It's not our job. Like we got to go to work. We got to go to work the next day, and just like that playground just reminds me that like the racetrack is our playground, and it's just nothing but a good time with our buddies. It's like we're like a big fraternity.
Yeah, Bob's great saying. Just remember, everybody, we got to go to work on Monday.
Yep, that should be a sticker.
Yeah.
we should
Uh,
we should make a shirt out of that.
yep. One of the things like Larry talked about, and Kevin, you're going to attest to this. Nick, Corey, everybody, like when I got back into it, I enjoyed college really well, enjoyed younger life really well. But getting back into it was a rude awakening into like having to get back into shape in my 30s. That was something like didn't even really think about, and shedded 20 pounds, 25 pounds just to be competitive. So much ado, and Kevin, with your bowling, I'm sure you can really appreciate this saying too, is like to be good at any of this stuff, you have to appreciate or fall in love with practicing, because
Mm-hmm.
that's the only way you're going to get actually better. And like we were talking before about engines, like it matters, but it doesn't matter as much as me going out in the track every Friday afternoon or Saturday and just pounding laps, looking at data, asking questions, talking to people. I think I found more time following half of these guys around the track and just trying different things that I wasn't doing uh, than anything I could have bought.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. What's the phrase that I think a lot of us try to use? Like, I'll help you get as fast as me, and then that's when the help stops.
That's
That's
what
the
I tell everybody.
Mustang.
Is like,
That's
yep,
that's the Mustang. I'll help you get as fast as me.
yep. I just had I think it was Greg. He was reaching out to me because he's like, I really want to take this seriously and get faster. I think it was Greg. I have to look it up. But and I was like, I told him straight out, I was like, yeah, I'll help you. Yeah, we can get as fast as I can go. But if you start beating me, we're done. Um, respectfully. So
But that's I think just underlies a bigger point. Like Kevin mentioned, it's a fraternity. Like you can walk over to anybody's trailer, in between sessions, ask a question about setup, about a
oh,
certain
we
line, like, and everyone is open. Everyone is, for the most part, everyone is like, here's what I'm doing, here's what you should try, maybe adjust this, and it's awesome to be a part of.
yeah, like I had like in Vegas, like Larry and I were going back and forth all weekend. Like, have you found anything out there? What are you doing here? Like, I don't know what to do here, and just bouncing ideas off of each other to see, because there's nothing more fun than just at least racing fair and square out there and then beating each other on straight up merit and helping get each other there. Like that's the most fun. But like another one would be middle of the summer we were at Road America. I think I beat Kevin in qualifying by 1,000th of a second.
Oof.
And, and come to find out, he didn't put all the pieces back into his front spindle. So, I went over. I had a spare one, so I just went and took it and put here, run it. No questions asked. Like here, grab it. Or I think the last race of the year, like Brian Janty was struggling with an engine, just couldn't figure it out. I was like, grab an engine. Here, I have extra ones. They're not being used. Put it on. Let's find out what it is. Like, is that the problem or not? Found out it wasn't, but
At least you try.
yeah.
Or
But now we
Blake,
know.
when I blew up my engine in qualifying one time, Blake was like, he was not racing that weekend. He just to say, hey,
Yeah.
take my engine, and I mean, this is very nice. Like as I mentioned at the beginning of this interview, or that's why we love Wisconsin people. My experience and Christian's experience ever since we start coming to Wisconsin to Badger, this is what we felt and we experienced, and that's why we're coming back. It's
Yeah, ultra competitive, but at the same time, like you give me 10 minutes after the race is over and we'll be, having some of
Cracking.
Nick's mom's, yeah, cracking a beer and having some of Nick's mom's hors d'oeuvres over there, some charcuterie.
Oh man,
or get some
uh,
moonshine
nothing
Christian or
beats the
yeah,
snacks from Mama
yeah.
Rogatich after racing. Nothing
Yeah,
beats
So
those
like,
snacks.
like
there's a
it's
lot of
like,
things we can improve on in my camp. I think we do lead
The
the series
snacks.
in catering.
Oh, the catering.
We do, not for nothing, but we have the best catering in the series.
yep, week to week. I agree.
So a few times over the course of the last hour, we've heard a whole bunch of acronyms that a lot of the listeners probably don't get. I'm sure Tristan and Andrew, not being in it, aren't as comfortable with or don't know about. We've heard SCUSA, we've heard USPKS,
Oh,
we've heard route. And I want to kind of get into differences between, hey, when we go club, when we go regional, when we go national, like what competition, like the way they run a weekend. I think, Larry, you mentioned you brought 3 engines to SCUSA and you were trying different engines. Like in my entire karting career, I think I've owned 3 total. Like, but I don't do it at that level. So, I mean, all you guys, Corey, Wes, you guys have all raced at these different levels. Let's talk about what those differences are in a Tag Masters weekend versus a USPKS weekend versus, a whatever. Like, who wants to kind of dive into like a big difference?
So basically, right now, um, for example, when you run Tag Masters, you can probably run one season with the same engine, but have maybe a rebuild in the middle of the year. Depends how much you practice with it or something. But what I believe, most of the guys they have two engines, and they practice with one, and they know that one is for racing and it's a little better or something. That's what I think. But when you go to national event, so here's the difference. When you go to a national race and you travel 1,000 miles to get to that race, and you spend money on transportation, hotels, mechanic, flights, everything that you get there. Basically, you don't want to take a shortcut and don't have a spare engine so you can ruin your race because you already spent the money to get there. So here, that's the difference. And that's why, and when you run a national event like USPKS, which is the United States Pro Kart Series, you don't have drivers only from United States. You have Peru national champions. You have
Brazil.
Canada or UK, or you have those guys. There is a guy that we were fighting at Super Nationals. He's four-time world champion.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yep.
come on. He, he just won the
Road
Rotax
tax.
Worlds right now. He actually won the ticket in front of me when I race in Newcastle. So when you race these guys, and they race the biggest and the strongest team in the US, which is RPG. And
And they go
if you
through
wanna
more sets of tires in one weekend than we are allowed in Tag Masters for the whole year.
exactly, but to me that's I don't see the point because when you race, you race on used tires anyway. So you have to kind of when you test, you have to simulate the racing behavior on your go kart. So to me, just to put fresh tires every session, just to be the fastest in practice. If you want to win practice, that's a big problem that you have.
Hmm.
That was
I mean,
Christian actually gave me shit for that, Larry. We um I think 2 years ago, um we threw a new set, like our second set of tires on for Masters, and I wasn't even thinking, and I put them on right off the trailer, and we were allowed to practice, and Christian rolls by and he kind of bumps me in the shoulder and goes, you're gonna win practice, congratulations.
That's Christian for you. That's Christian for you.
I'm like, oh shit, yeah, I should have saved it for qualifying. You're right, Christian.
sometimes yeah, there is a little strategy that everybody plays. Maybe just they want to scuff the tires just before qualifying because you have a short session and you want the tires to get in. Sometimes they are a little quicker on the second heat cycle. But at national, when you qualify, everybody has new tires, so you have to qualify new tires. It is what it is. So you have to get used to drive new tires in qualifying.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
like if you
just
get
even talk about
you.
sorry, I would say just
Oh, I was
even
gonna
just talk
say.
about the transportation. I mean, you see some of these teams are showing up what NASCAR style rigs, truck and
Yes.
trailers. I mean,
At at SuperNet's RPG had 41 carts, I think, underneath its tent.
Jeez.
So imagine the data, right? Even in Masters, they had the guy that won. It's an Australian kid that drove with Techno Australia in senior, and it was his first year in Masters. He came bum bum bum. I mean, the competition that you run, it's unbelievable. So going back to that, you don't want to take shortcuts. You go to an event like this, you better make sure your stuff is right, and you have options if something goes wrong because it's still a racing engine. Anything can go wrong.
Uh-huh.
It can be fresh. I ran six super nationals in my life, and I finished three. Three of
Still
them.
looking for my first.
Yeah. I had three X30 fresh engines, fresh. Like we were any, mini, miny, mo. Which one we gonna run? and engine builder said run this because it's got better top. And in the final, we ran 28 to fifth, 4 laps to go. He blew up like in pieces. In pieces. That engine was only the starter was left intact and the carburetor. Everything else was junk. We throw it in the garbage.
Yeah, and to Larry's point, like the biggest thing when you're traveling for these, like I don't want to worry about the engine, I don't want to worry about the chassis, rims, whatever. Like bring multiples of everything, have it ready to go, and because it's a race, it's not really a race to have the best equipment there. Everybody's on similar stuff, and personally, um, I feel with this stuff like yeah, there's different metals and there's different this and that, but when you start bolting things together, like they're all the same thing. Your approach to get to the fastest setup is maybe a little bit different, but ultimately they're all the same. I can take any card out there and we can get there if we have enough data, and that's where Larry was talking about. Like RPG has like 40 carts out in their tent. They have 40 carts of data, and granted, it's all different, but they have 5 guys in the same class and they can go out there with specific setups on each of them and then narrow in and hone in where they need to go. So like when you go to a national race, it's a race to get up to speed with the track and the changing conditions, because as also like when there's 400 carts out there on the same tire, like rubber builds up, tracks changes, they change the track layout sometimes, but all those things, like you're racing to get up to speed, and I don't want to have to worry about an engine, chassis, carburetors, fuel line, like anything. Like it needs to be perfect, and I whatever that needs to be, then bring it with.
At least we try to make it perfect.
Yeah, exactly. Yep, loose is fast, right? All the bolts. But
And
like at the club level, like
nuts.
yep, two of them, two of them. Yeah,
Always.
I got your rule book here, right here. I got your SCUSA rule book.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But like, what's nice, like too, like at the like Tag Masters, like I'm there to have fun first and foremost. Winning is more fun than not winning, but at the same time, like, um, you know, as Kevin was saying earlier, like you kind of get relaxed in the season, or it's daunting because it's a longer season. National races are what 4 or 5 now. It's 5 weekends. Regionals are 4 weekends, so like you have less time to prep, but like you have more time to kind of make a mistake and recover from it at the club level, so you can be a little more relaxed that way.
So money is a big difference. Length of schedule is um, a big difference. You talked about the competition, who you're racing against. What about like on track etiquette? Because like sometimes you hear that at the club
What?
level, like when people are getting into kind of gripes, like, hey, this isn't a national race, man. We don't need to do that. Like, what's the difference in like actually wheel to wheel out on track in a USPKS versus a Masters race?
Ooh. Larry, you got
um
that one?
You put your helmet on,
Okay.
is no difference.
no, it comes down to I think just being on the track with those guys more. Like you seek out people, or like you look for people that you've been on the track with, so you're more comfortable around them. um I think is like the biggest thing. Other than that, it's all the same.
Yeah. Yeah, just to kind of back up what Wes just said, knowing your competition. I mean, Tag Masters, we got 10 weeks of racing pretty much the same guys except a couple one offs, but like when we go to Road America, I know where Corey's always going to be, and there's a part of the racetrack that Corey always goes that no one else goes. And there's a layout at Badger where I know Wes is going to be faster than everybody at because he takes a completely different line than somebody. So it's just knowing your competition is probably the biggest thing that I would say is different from the club/regional to the national, is like you just the predictability of your competition.
Corey, you want to give away your Road America secret?
Yeah.
Oh, that.
Send it.
Yeah,
Full send.
just send it over the cart and just okay. I see everyone going around
What
it.
was
I'm just
that?
like, all right, I'm gonna go straight at it. In Tag Masters,
Corey goes evil Knievel.
I'm that young guy in the Tag Masters group. Which I do have to say, last year when you guys were talking about the younger generation, I was disappointed that I didn't hear my name on there.
Oh.
Did you start
You,
crying by any chance?
Oh,
Or-
they
yeah.
got a chip on my shoulder. That's why in the beginning of the season I was
You were on it. This podcast pissed you off. That was it.
a little bit. You gave me a little chip on my shoulder to prove you guys that you guys didn't mention my name as the younger guys like me or Corcoran or Dow. You guys said a name that the guy never even came and ran. I was like, oh, okay.
Oh, I
Come
see.
on, Corey, don't feel bad. You still you prove yourself, and now you are running in the front, so you're good. You have to stay calm and more consistent, and just push yourself a little bit more. You're gonna be
Yeah,
fine.
pretty soon
What a nice thing to
I will
say from
be
the other
right
side
on
of
the
the room.
one day.
Yeah.
Yeah, like going back and forth, like we race all these guys week after week, so it's like, and the way that you race maybe one person out there, you're not going to race the same person because it's just like the way you guys interact out there, and like you're not always going to see eye to eye, but at the end of the day, like people will, you have your conversation, you get on the same page, and then you work together. I would say the only frustration I ever get on track with anybody is when there's like a group in front of you and you're not in the front group and you're trying to catch them and somebody just wants to race you like it's the last corner of the last lap. Every fucking, can I swear here? Sorry.
Yes.
Every fucking lap. Like that's like my biggest frustration is like lap 3 and you're chopping it up with me like it's lap 14 and we're about ready to be done because you're just like, there goes the leaders. Like,
Well,
bye.
welp, no catching Larry now.
Yeah.
It's and there is another thing. The first time when I went to Le Mans for the IME final, I had the same experience, man. They don't care if they race for 20th place or first place. They are passing, blocking, like, I mean, the experience that I got over there, I couldn't believe it. I was like, what are you guys doing? I mean, seriously, let's go. They were just don't care, man. I mean, and this is how they race in Europe.
Hmm.
So I guess it's just when you put your helmet on, you just want to race. I guess. I mean, but it's
Yeah.
okay. I mean, just push yourself, be a little bit faster, and just pass the guy and go. Don't give him the opportunity to pass you back, I guess.
Yeah. Well, it's and you sometimes lose sight too, like what is that person's goals, what's their talent level or skill level that they're out at. Like I remember getting back into it, I was way out in front of my skis. Just you know, a decade out of the seat is a brutal reminder when you get out there with everybody else. Um, I think my first race back, I missed a corner by a country mile and potted our dear friend Nick here. Uh, I went to go underneath him and I went way underneath him and missed that corner just because it was so foreign. But
Underneath me, underneath the curb, underneath the
oh
pretty
yeah, we
much
didn't need to
all of
cut that corner. We didn't need to cut that corner, that grass in that corner for a good month. Uh,
it. Yeah.
so, but like you do lose sight of that. But yeah, I would say like my only frustration with anybody ever on track is like when you're early in the race, racing's fine. But when you're trying to like work together to like lose a group or catch a group, and then they just want to like chop it up every corner, and you're just like, come on.
Yeah,
The
the
worst is
flip
when you
side of
have
that.
that pre-race conversation. You have that pre-race conversation with somebody like, "Hey, let's work together. Let's get to the front, and then we'll figure it out afterwards." As soon as a green flag hits, yeah, like we're out the window. Like we're that that grinds my gears.
Yep.
Grinds my
Yeah, it was.
gears.
Yeah, it was a race at Mooresville one time, USPKS. I had Paul and Max Papis. came to me in the grid. Hey, Lorenzo. He was speaking Italian to me because he used to race Tecno before, whatever. So listen, we go in the front. We just go push each other. We go. I'm not gonna pass you. I'm not gonna. We're just gonna go, and then we fight at the end. We say, okay, okay. We take the start. Turn one, chicane, up, down. Corner number four, and entering the five. I heard him like he was coming. I have it on video. He was almost taking me out of the track. Oh. And then he makes sign to push him. He was like pushing. The next lap in the same place, I said, okay, fuck you. Bye bye. I passed him, and I don't know what happened behind because he got together with somebody and he couldn't catch me. It happens.
I mean, just that's a pretty cool story to say that you essentially said "fuck you" to a former champ car driver.
Oh,
I
there you
don't
go.
fucking care. I, you know, I don't know. I don't know who's gonna watch this, but I said fuck you multiple times, and I beat him on the track. And okay, to Rubens
We
Barrichello,
had
the
the
F1 driver.
Rubens
Fuck
Barrichello
him.
incident.
I don't fucking care. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, come on. You respect me, I respect you. You don't respect me, you're just a racing driver on the track. Well, I don't care who you are. If you're a piece of shit, you're a piece of shit. Period.
That's something
Right.
cool that Larry brought up that is cool about Tag Masters and like being able to travel around and do it is the people you meet, the backgrounds, and like there's a lot of formula or former pro drivers that come back down and do this because their kids are in it now. And it's where I don't think there's too many other disciplines of motorsport that you can go say and do that. Maybe some circle track stuff, but again, we're talking, top tier sprint car stuff.
Right.
Yeah, we raced Will Power,
Yeah.
Barrichello, Pizzonia, all these Formula One, Max Papis. I mean, a lot of New Garden raced. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
Schumacher came to Vegas one year. Michael Schumacher. So yeah, it's amazing. I mean, again, I'm going back. This is a dream.
Yeah.
That we
Alexander
have the
Rossi ran Supernats one year.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he attempted to run
ah,
Supernats.
yeah,
Yeah, Alex
Alexander
Rossi.
Rossi. Yeah, and then he was 1.5 seconds off, and he took off the track. His ribs were hurting, and
Yeah,
pussy.
Yeah.
got laughed off got laughed off the track.
To me, I'm sorry. Again, I don't know who's gonna watch this. I don't. To
Not
me,
Alexander Rossi. Don't worry.
Yeah, probably not.
even
Yeah.
if he watches, maybe he has to step up his game a little bit.
Hi, rib vest, bitch.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't fucking wear one, not even in KZ, and I'm okay. And then you come and it comes out of track. Okay, fuck you.
I mean, I wear a rib vest, and I was like, oh, and Larry gives me shit all the time. I'm like, I'm not built like you, Larry. I'm not built like you.
No, even in Romania this summer, I raced the KZ in Masters there, and when I got out of the go kart and I took my suit off, and they saw I don't have a rear protector, everybody in the grid was like, "What the fuck is this guy doing?" No problem.
When I came back karting, when I was sitting down with Larry and Christian, I was getting fitted for my suit, and Christian goes, "Where's your rib vest?" I'm like, "I don't need one of those fucking things." And Larry was like, "Yeah, no rib vest. You good, Kuman. You good." We get
Good stuff.
random. That second Scusa race that I ran, my ribs, I was in tears in my seat, but I had to hurry up and wipe them away so that Larry didn't see me. And I was like, "Larry, I think I need a rib vest." He's like, "Oh, you pussy, Kuman."
I made it 12 whole laps when I came back. I made it 12 whole laps. I hopped the sweeper corner and popped a rib, and I was done for like 3 weeks.
Oh,
Yeah, we
He-
ran X30 at Norway at Concept Haulers. And
yeah.
yeah, Larry's smiling, but that was the day that my racing without a rib vest career ended.
Yeah, I remember.
When I first got back into it, when I moved back from Michigan, it was the same thing. People are like, "You might want a rib vest." And when I ran like back in the day in like middle school and high school when I ran can, I didn't need a rib vest. So like I'm like, whatever, that's fine. And then I got out of the cart after the first race weekend, and from both sides, from my armpit down to my waistband, was all black and blue. I'm like, yeah, I need a rib vest.
I mean, this is not like I'm not wearing the revest because I want to be fancy or something. To me, I think I'm a little bit claustrophobic. I think when I put the revest on and I sit in the cart, the revest goes up, and I feel like I'm not all the way in the seat, and I don't feel how the chassis works for me. And this is the reason why I'm not wearing it. I feel more comfortable without it. So I'm not trying to be. What's
The
that?
mean.
Oh, he held up the wiener dog, so
Oh
I held
yeah,
up
I see.
the mean
Mean
wiener logo on the shirt there.
What's his name, Kev?
His name is Link, like a sausage link.
Link.
Oh yeah, there you go. There you go.
He's
Nice.
our
Appropriate.
we brought him to the racetrack one time this year, and there wasn't enough Xanax to keep his ass calm. He was barking at everything,
Oh yeah,
and it was a
heavy,
perfect.
ready to fight.
He was the perfect mascot.
I remember getting
What were you
his leg
saying,
off.
Corey?
Oh yeah,
He
he
did
did try
what?
to bite you. I talked him into that.
I'll be back in 1 minute. I'll be back.
Yeah, yeah, that's great. I mean, yeah, this there's like a whole. I feel like this is a whole secret world, honestly, that I just don't know anything about, right? Because when I mean, I probably tend to think of more, I guess, down league karting, right? More the stuff like over at Ignite, the track here. But this is the secret world to me. It's really very fascinating because you guys doing all this stuff on national, international stages, running into famous drivers. It's kind of like almost like a secret superhero life to someone like me who just watches cars go around a track sometimes. You know what I mean? Do you guys ever feel that like you kind of have maybe like a cart life and like a regular life? It's kind of like the high point, the low point, then you're 9 to 5, then you're back, and you're is it kind of one of those things?
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah, my
yeah.
regular friend group couldn't be less interested in it, but they have no concept. And I will say, like, a lot of them used to talk shit about it, like, oh yeah, Mario Karts, oh yeah, and then I started inviting them out, like, oh yeah, come and get in it. Here, I'll set up a whole cart for you.
Yeah.
And you let them go out there, and they'll turn like 5 laps, come in dead tired, out of breath, and you're like, hey man, you got within 2.5 seconds of our lap time. That's pretty good. Like, or you got within 5 seconds of our lap time. Like, not that bad. Um, keep at it. And I think like a couple of my friends, like, they've built an appreciation for it once they did it, because they didn't truly understand what it entailed. You see you put on all your safety gear and they're like, oh, it can't be that dangerous. um, but I think like in the draft, uh, in Badger is 62 miles an hour. At Road America you can get up to like 65. We hit 77, and this is all 100cc racing. Like, it's not like it's shifter carts. I think 105 at Supernats this year. If you had
And
the
and you
IME,
and you said you had 77 in the KA.
yeah, I was pushed in the draft. So
Maximum I had it was 74.
yeah, yeah, we got 73 or 77, which matched like the senior stuff, but I was being pushed in the draft.
And I know
That's ins-
somebody else in Masters that had 78.
Yeah, so
But
we were up there.
that's something else we're gonna talk in private.
Hmm.
Uh-oh.
The plotting, the planning. I mean,
Oh yeah.
yeah, that's insane because even if you're just casually acquainted with what a go kart looks like, with your balls a quarter inch off the pavement, I mean that's like
The
I don't
twitchiness
think
is
it's
what
for
gets
me.
you. Yeah, it's the twitchiness that gets you, because like
Yeah.
it was more so like you just barely touch the wheel and you're like darting all over the place.
It's
No,
it's
it's way more complicated than it's looking from outside. I will say that
Yeah,
it's
Yeah.
for sure.
it's a lot more involved than it's.
Well, like how many races did we all participate in this year where like 100th would have gotten you 3 or 4 positions? I know I qualified 12th at Supernats, and I think 100th would have gotten me 4 or 5 positions.
Yeah, I was.
Out of
What was Paul? 0002.
Yeah, it was like flat on flat, and I think like somebody, you think you lost out by a thousandth or a couple of
Yeah, you
thousands.
were you were plus you were to the good like plus 002.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Damn.
Well, you don't remember you at
Yeah,
Super Nats?
I know, I got Paul, but I didn't. I mean, it was super, super small difference. Like
Yeah,
what?
I remember they lost by like a little bit, but
Yeah,
Man.
like I remember when we went down to Orlando to start the season, and again, it was like a tenth was 4 or 5 positions.
yeah,
Um, and one little misstep. I mean, I remember like Larry got stuck racing with somebody, and all of a sudden we had caught you guys by like 7 cart lengths in a lap. Um, so it's just like good close fun racing, I guess is what I was trying to
yeah,
say with that one. Like it's
But then
just
also like pressure, right? Because if you're in groups of that, or even in a single duel like that, you're talking twitchiness of the carts, the speeds, and I mean, you, if you beef it, you're going to take at least one other person out with you, probably more if you're packed up nice and tight. You know what I mean? That's yeah.
it has happened.
Yeah, it happened
to
this
me,
year.
what is most to me what is super super amazing is when you watch micro, the kids 8 to 11. If you see how they race and what racecraft they have and how precise they are, I'm honestly I'm looking back at that age. I'm trying to remember me at my at that age. There is no. It's it's
that's
unreal. They are like machines, man. It's unbelievable.
yeah. After lap after lap after lap.
It's
I know, like
and
when I'm out there, like mentally, I feel like I'm 16 still. I'm like, oh, put the go kart there, and like my body is just like, the fuck you will.
yeah, yeah, no, it's amazing. It's you know the race strategies how they push themselves. They draft and the draft. They use the draft to catch the group. They are super smart, super advanced for that age, and I mean unbelievable.
I was 8 years
Um,
old. I was eating paste. You know.
yeah.
I mean, I guess one other really important question I had, obviously, as someone who's even vaguely interested in racing, I understand that I have, if I want my daughter to be, I mean, what do I say? What should we say? F1 world champion, something like that. I got to get her in karts soon. She's 2 now, so what, like a
4
four,
years old.
four? You think? Okay, all
Yeah,
right.
they should be in a cart by 4. They can start racing at 5, and then from there, like new girl dad over here, you got a seasoned girl dad over there. Like
Mm-hmm.
it'll be just as much marketing as it is talent. So, like
That's true.
I am enamored by the marketability of some of these little kids already, and what they're striving to work towards. Just on the face of it, uh, they're getting themselves ready to, you know, go to the top. Like I know of a couple of kids, like their whole career is planned out to try to get them to just IMSA because they already know like IndyCar is out of the question, Formula One is out of the question. Um, so like they're like, well, I want to be an IMSA driver for the rest of my life, and this is a 10-year-old, and they're taking it, and they're taking it as serious, and they have a plan in place how to get there, and it's not just, well, if you turn 10,000 laps and you're fast, you're going to get there. It's putting on be personable, perception, have that right mixture,
And a
and then
blank
also
check.
go out there and win. Yeah, but also go out there and win. Like there's kids that are I've watched their again 5 seconds off, and within a year they're within tenths. Within 2 years they're fighting for wins, and then it comes back to engines at that point.
That's crazy. It's just
So start getting ready, Andrew. Start making
yeah,
some phone
we're
calls.
Yep.
behind already. That's what I was worried about. We're already behind.
Yeah, you just got to be around the right people, to be honest with you.
right, exactly. I
Yeah,
mean,
Corey means you
clearly,
got to be around the right degenerates.
I'm a
sure,
degenerate.
sure, the right people who can teach, but the passionate guys, I think, like you guys, right? And like Larry said, and I think shown throughout the course of the show, if you love it, then you want it to be preserved. You want to keep it special, and you want to see kids of the next generation, just like you described, right? Killing it on the track and improving year to year, and knowing the value of karting. And I think that's really cool because I mean I've definitely grown up. I was thinking about this, getting ready for the show. I grew up kind of at a time where, at least for my family, karting was like for yahoos. You know what I mean? It wasn't viewed as it wasn't viewed as a sport in my house. It was just viewed as something you did with like the extra lawnmower engine. You know what I mean? And it's so different than that. It's so varied and it's so scientific. It is a sport. It is a something you got to try at to be good at. You know, it's not something I really knew about for most of my life.
Oh yeah. It's just it's so competitive and it's growing. You know, it's still a niche sport. Like I get lost in it all the time. Like, oh, this sport's huge. Like, there's so many people in it. There's like 10,000 people in the United States that do it. So, you know, there's 400 or 500 people that show up and race at these national events. There's not as many as you think. It's still a lot, but you know, perspective is key when there's 330 million people here. But I get more joy now, arguably, helping the little kids at the track. Like now, former race director, working with the club. Like I got joy getting that kid that's new. They don't even know how to change the oil on their 206 or put the air pressure in their tires, and you get them from 5 seconds slower again to like at least sticking with the back of the pack, and getting them pointed in the right direction. Then like you hand them off to a Larry, and you get them the next step, and you get them competing. And it is arguably more fun uh, to watch a kid go from the back of the pack to competing for a win.
Oh yeah,
Kevin, you've worked with
Yeah,
ton of
Kevin's
kids.
coached kids too. Yeah.
Yeah, and you know that with
yeah. I've
bowling,
been.
like
Oh yeah. That's yeah. That's kind of where I would say my biggest passion is. Besides racing, is just educating the youth. Whether it's bowling or racing. Um, like my Sunday morning ritual at Badger is taking the kids and doing a track walk, and just then hearing the progression of their day on how they get better just from that that little mark on the racetrack that I'm like, hey, if you see this, you got to hit that. Um just being able to be a good mentor to these kids, to where you catch their attention, you catch their focus. That is a huge win in today's society. Is just I mean, I've got when it comes to bowling, I mean, I just had a student. She's 15 years old. She just bowled a perfect game at
Yes,
15 years
let's
old.
go.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's
That's
I
gonna
got
be a big satisfaction, right? Like,
yeah. I mean, I got a 12-year-old kid who is beating adults. It's just that gratification of knowing that, like, what you're providing to people is just making them excel. I mean, it's a feeling you just can't describe. The smile on your face says it all.
Yeah, absolutely.
and then knowing that if that little kid someday will be famous, and knowing that you were part of that success
Yeah.
makes you feel like,
Oh yeah.
yeah, it's
Yeah. It's it's super cool. I mean, and even if they don't become famous, just remembering that one time that they worked with you or they did something with you, then that they remind they're remembered of, that they remember you by. I mean, that's a win in itself.
for sure. Yeah.
So that seems like a really good, warm, fuzzy topic to kind of start closing this out. We've been at it for almost 2 hours here. So I'll close out with just kind of one last question. We'll go around the horn with the group here. 2024, what's that looking like for you guys? Are you planning Masters? Are you planning every series you get to run? Like where are we going to see you guys? Larry, go ahead. Where
I'll see
are we going to?
Larry. I'll see Larry at every event. He'll be there, some racing for some
Yes.
reason.
Yeah, we are putting together the schedule. It's not 100% set yet, but we are going to Florida in January for Rock. We're gonna do Rock USPKS because I want the free whatever uh, tire package entry everything from the last season. I'm really shooting for that Rotax Grand Final ticket. That's on my wish list for
That's so
years now.
cool.
It's
I
on
was
my
so
wish list now after watching that.
I mean seriously I was so close 2 years in a row, man. Losing it by one spot. It's unbelievable. Actually, in 2000, in 2021, I got second, and the guy in first backed out of the deal, and the Rotax guys, Team USA, gave it to me, but I couldn't go because we registered for Super Nationals, and it was interfering. So it was very. I mean, I couldn't sleep 5 nights because of that. Because it was anyway. So that's, but we'll get it.
Yeah.
It's okay. We're gonna work for it, and. USPKS, we're not sure about Supernats and Vegas stuff next year. Talking about me. Uh, and something else, starting January 1st, I'm gonna create a new kind of a satellite team. It's gonna be called Double Knotted Racing. That was kind of a joke on the side, but yeah. For whoever knows why.
Mechanics team? Are you gonna do a mechanics team, double nutted?
No, I don't know if yeah, I don't want to say anything about that. But we have a few things, a few nice things going on. We have some tuners from Europe joining, especially for the KZ program because I think I'm going to run KZ Masters when it's available and when it's possible. Obviously, it will depend a little bit on the business perspective, how the trucking business is going to be next year, but we are positive that we're gonna do it. And yeah, of course, we're gonna be partners again with Tag Masters Championship, and we're gonna support the series and Badger as much as needed.
Well, we appreciate that. Thanks for what Techno does, Larry. You and Christian both. That's awesome.
Yes, pleasure.
Wes, congrats. You're a new dad. How's that affecting, if at all, your schedule for next year? Where are we going to see you?
It's affecting it significantly. No, I mean my plan right now would be I think take masters for sure. Like I'll run that all together. Supporting local. I'm sure you can hear her now.
And she makes
But
an appearance.
Say
yep.
hello. Say
Yeah.
hello.
So but no, we'll run take masters because it's so close, and I love Badger and the club and Road America. So at the very least that try to beat Kevin this year, try to beat Corey this year, and then I'm up in the air right now for regional stuff. If I can get my weight down, I'll run Route 66, but I think I'm only going to run senior if I can do that, but that's a lofty goal. So New Year's resolution is going to kick in full swing in a couple weeks here.
There you go.
And then I kind of want to try that Stars series because it just seems interesting. So try something different on the East Coast, and then plan to run a couple of the USPKS races as they come in closer, and then probably Super Nats again because I got to finish one at this point. So, so this year was arguably the most frustrating to not finish, but the least upsetting to also have not finished the last race, just because having the speed that we had and find we're finding it every time we went out there, we were making adjustments in the right direction, and knowing that my driving was there, but we were just trying to find setup critiques. That was like a big motivator, and then finish one. Got to get that checker flag and get that finish, the DNF monkey off my back. So first year I made the cardinal mistake, and then this year was just a racing incident. I just got pinched, nowhere to go. So finish one of these.
There you
So
go.
that's my plan. Got to try to keep it under like 20 events.
There you go. Kevin,
Seems
what
fair.
about you? Are you defending the championship next year?
So, I don't know if I will make all the events. I'm gonna definitely try to show my face for all 10 events, and yeah, I mean, try to defend. Not really sure how scheduling works out. I just signed, will be signing my contract to re-up with MPG Motorsports, and looking to actually try to compete for the Stars Championship
Awesome.
this series, this coming year. So going to my season will start at Charlotte Motor Speedway at the end of April. So looking forward to attending, there and seeing what we can do. So we'll be at as many Tag Master races as we can, as long as they don't interfere with the Stars schedule, and then possibly looking at running the Wisconsin events for Route 66. Mainly just because I like to support our home tracks, and I'm also a sponsor for Route 66. I actually um, sponsor the Hard Charger Award for all the classes.
Oh,
Just
sweet.
kind of, yeah,
Nice.
it's just kind of something that, with like I said, like from before, my just trying to be a mentor. I try to get kids to not give up on the weekend when they have a bad heat. They got to start way deep in the final. Just kind of keep them motivated to know that they're going to get rewarded for not giving up. So that's something that I look forward to, is being able to hand out that award at the end of all the races, at the Route 66 stuff.
Awesome. How about you, Corey? How often is Larry going to let you race?
Well, the business side is first. So most likely, for sure, run Tag Masters. Route 66, it's debatable. I'll be honest, I wasn't too thrilled about the number of entries we got from Route for a full season. It was, with the amount of money we were spending out there, like I might as well just stay and run Tag Masters because we're getting 20 plus, where in Route we barely got 10. So I think I'll just focus more on Tag Masters, do worry about the business, and then hopefully go and help out under the tent, travel, help Larry win some races for USPKS.
There
Because
you go.
honestly, I have a perfect record when I'm wrenching for him. We always win.
Oh.
Oh,
He said it.
Sounds like somebody
Larry,
just filled out his 2024 goals list.
Yeah,
Lucky
man.
charm right there.
I feel lucky because I'm in advantage here. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
yeah, you
Yeah,
guys don't know Corey is now working for my company, and he's a right hand over there too. He's very professional. We worked hard on him, but it's getting along.
Nice.
you made him fat.
That's not me. I mean, I didn't feed him like this. I'm keep I'm keep telling him, just cook, make yourself a breakfast, do this, try to avoid gas stations, and I'm trying to teach him what I think it's best, because he's a part of our family here, so
There you
he's
go.
gonna be good.
Don't worry, I'm gonna
Trust me.
get on the treadmill.
I have a strategy in my tent. A lot of push-ups. So watch him.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Jamie's kid Brandon had a rule that if he caught you swearing, you owed him 10 push-ups. I think I did like several thousand push-ups this year.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a good way to
We
get
Nick,
in
what
shape, I
about you?
guess.
What are your racing plans for?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're curious.
Of course.
So plan on Masters as much as I can get to. If the schedule shakes out similar to what it did this past year, we will have a 2-month-old for the first weekend of the season. So fresh, brand new baby, and first time being a dad. I got to navigate around that too. So goal is to do Masters, but new
Congrats.
baby is going to be first. Thank you. Yeah.
Those are the
So
easy months. That's also we didn't touch on that. I wasn't supposed to go to Supernats this year, but my daughter was born a week early, and I've been joking with my wife for a while about going to it regardless. And I jokingly, after we transferred rooms, I said, "So now that she's a week early, I think I could swing Vegas now because she'll be 5 weeks instead of 4 weeks old." And she goes, "I'm honestly surprised it took you this long to ask." And
that's a good woman, Wes.
yep, and I think by the end of that day, I already had my ticket. Larry and I were texting back and forth, going, "I think there's only 3 spots left. Let's sign up right now."
Yeah.
And I think I signed
I
up that day.
I remember my daughter was 2 days old, and I was at the
Yeah,
race. My
That's
first
the
Damn.
kid,
passion.
2 days old. I have a great wife. I'm telling you to let me do this.
we can tell.
I guess so.
I mean, I'm telling you, it's just yeah. All
That's
right. So
awesome.
Nick, Wes, you said everything. So Andrew, are we gonna have you around racing with us or what?
Phew. I
You gonna
don't
go
think
run that
so. I
Ignite
mean,
series?
what's that?
You gonna go run that Ignite series?
It's. I'm gonna have to go see it at the very least. It's Hastings. It's in Hastings, Nebraska, so it's a little far away. I'm gonna have to go see it. They also do a bunch of other car related stuff, and they even on their website, according to the website, you can even rent the track. So, I mean, if you guys want to throw on an event, as long as one of you is licensed to host a racing event, you could do it in Hastings, Nebraska.
Let's go.
you don't have to tell me twice about a good time.
Yeah, let's roll. Can
Yeah,
we all stay
I
at your
definitely have to
house?
check it out. I was checking the prices on the carts as well. Looks like between 3,500 and about 5,000 gets you the full thing, tires, seat installed, and all, ready to rock.
You can swing it.
It's got that line around. Yeah, I don't know. I got to get moving here. Kind of put me off of out of all the racing stuff for a year, but I definitely need to get back to Road America. Um, and then try to see some stuff that's around here. I'm interested in trying to get to some of the SCCA stuff around here as well, simply because I work with a guy who runs it, and it seems like that's the racing of choice out here. So definitely need to see the carts, see some of that, and get back to Road America. So
Get in touch with Nick and get my contact. If you wanna come to Road America, I'll have a go kart for you.
oh shit,
Oh,
hey, there we go.
And
Yeah.
Well, there we
it's
go.
not gonna cost you $3,500.
Well, yeah, there you go. Ideally, yeah. All right, let's do
$32.99.
it. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Also, I think
yeah.
like we'll be racing
Uh,
around the same weekend as Trans Am will be here. I think at the end of June, and
That was
then
last year too, I think, right?
yeah, so like Trans Am will be here, and then the United States Pro Kart Series will be at our track, and Tag Masters should
Yes.
have a race the weekend before or after. So there'll be like a 3 week stint where it'll be real big to come and race in Wisconsin.
yeah,
Yeah. All right. Cool.
I
we'll
put
have
together the schedule, so
we'll have a goulash made. We're gonna make a special event.
Oh, there it is.
Oh,
We'll
the
make
goulash.
we'll
mm,
make
Goulash.
Christian cook and bring his friends to cook that stuff. Man, it's unbelievable. I mean,
Goulash and bourbon. Let's go.
No
bourbon
bourbon.
for me, not for me. Yeah, I mean everybody else can have it, but I'm not.
Nick, you don't know our rule.
What's the
No
rule?
alcohol in the tent during race weekends.
I mean,
No
yeah,
more.
that makes sense.
I mean, yeah, that would make sense.
I
But
mean,
after the race weekend.
After it's something else. But yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks, Larry. Larry, Wes, Kevin, Corey, really appreciate you guys hopping on. I had a blast catching up with y'all. Hopefully, the listeners, when this gets released, will enjoy it. Thanks again so much for coming on. Listeners, thank you for sticking with us and tuning in. Hope everybody has a great holiday season. We'll see y'all in 2024. Take care, everybody.